In this episode, newsflash, your spine is broken and how to fix it.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 245 of the Daily Mother Swole. I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. If you flex hard enough, it's scientifically proven. The fun fact of the day is if you flex hard enough, it actually thickens the base of your facial follicles. So the harder you squeeze, it actually increases the density of the proteins that create beard hair. So if you're trying to up the ante and, increase your testosterone production, just flex it out. Just flex it out. Episode 245. Thank you for joining me on Facebook Live every day at 12 noon Eastern Time, right here on Facebook at Swolenormous, watching on YouTube and listening in on SoundCloud and iTunes for the podcast. This is episode 245. And we are talking spine today. Your spine is broken and how to fix it. Don't worry. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to just tell you your spine's broken. I should do that. I should say your spine's broken and then sign off. And everyone be like, oh my God, I can't even move today. He didn't tell me how to fix it. But I will tell you how to fix it. Well, I'll give you some ideas. But first off, I got to explain why it's broken, why your spine's jacked up, and then how you can go about fixing it. And believe it or not, throughout the episodes, throughout the 244 other episodes of the Daily Swole, and all the Snapchats, and all the Instagram posts, and all the premium broadcasts, and all the shit that I've done over the past year, I've talked about this, and I've given you hints, but this is going to put all that together to help your spine be nice and safe. So your spine is broken. Let's talk about the spine, and then we'll get into what you can do to fix the error of your ways. First off, there are several areas of the spine. Now, the spine is kind of like a snapshot of the entire body, and if you know anything about anatomy, you know that the body alternates, in general, mobile and stable joints, because stable joints allow for more force production and more strength and more overload because they are stable. Just like when you build a building, you want a strong foundation, right? Mobile joints are meant for mobility. They're not quite as strong, but they provide a lot of motion. You can twist, you can rotate, and you have those around the body, and that would be an example of the shoulder or the hip. Stable joints would be the knee, the ankle, kind of in between the hip and the shoulder, but pretty much the knee, the elbow, the lumbar spine. You have more stable joints that provide a great base of support and allow the body to hold a lot of load, but they don't provide the mobility that the shoulder and the hip and the wrist and the ankle would do, okay? So there's different areas of the body, and the combination allows for a lot of mobility and a lot of strength and capacity because there's a combination. So these joints work together, and that's why you have muscles that do different things that work synergistically. You have this combination of movement that allows for both strength and support and also mobility. So that combination of stability and mobility. You have two parts of the skeleton. You have the axial and the appendicular skeleton. You have the center of the body, which is the spine for the most part, and you have the arms and the legs. So there's two sections. The spine mimics exactly what I'm talking about with the alternating of mobile and stable joints. You have at the bottom, you have the sacrum, which are fused vertebrae, and the coccyx, but you have the sacrum and the lumbar spine. The lumbar spine is super stable. And this is one of the reasons why this is important, or what I'm talking about today, is because most people have pain or something from their back. I mean, the stats are staggering, 80 to 90% minimum. 80 to 90% minimum. I mean, the numbers are vague, but the last I checked, it was 90%. At least 90% of the people in the United States have lower back pain at least once in their lifetime. So across the board, pretty much everyone let's just say pretty much everyone is going to have some kind of lower back injury or pain at least one time in their life, whether it's going to be a catastrophic injury or it's just going to be an aching lower back. So pretty much everyone's going to have some shit with their lower back. Now, some of this can be just an accident. You got into a car accident or you slipped and you fell. But a lot of it is just repetitive injury and things that could be prevented. So you have the lumbar spine supposed to be stable. You get a little mobility, but it's mostly stable. Thoracic spine, a lot of mobility. And then you have the cervical spine, which has even more in some cases mobility, but not as much as a thoracic until you get to the very top of the neck. The reason you might be saying, well, my cervical spine can move my head in all different directions, that's because of the last two vertebrae. That's because of the top two cervical vertebrae that allow that rotation. It's not the entire cervical spine. So you have alternating stable and mobile joints. And this episode is going to give you an idea of why you have injuries in certain places. Let's talk about the neck. Let's start at the top and we'll move our way down. So you have 7 cervical vertebrae, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, then you have 5 fused sacral, and you also have 4 coccygeal, little tailbone that we're not really going to talk too much about. But you have 7, 12, 5, and 5, and it just goes down. As you get lower on the spine, if you ever saw a skeleton, it gets thicker as you get towards the bottom, and that's because of the overload. When you have a lot more force, gravity pulling down, and more weight, organs, arms, limbs, you're holding weight, the lower lumbar and the lower base of the spine, just like a pyramid, has to be thicker and larger. That's why the leg bones are bigger than the arm bones, because they're weight bearing. So if you look at a skeleton, you'll see the tibia and the fibula. You have the radius and the ulna and the forearm. They look the same. The arms and legs of a human being look pretty much the same if you look at bones. The legs are thicker, though, and longer and bigger because that they hold up the rest of the body. So they're larger because they resist gravity more. So you have more bony tissue and you have more ability to resist the force of gravity and hold everything else upright and stack things on top. That's why the lower body is larger, and that's why the base of the spine is larger. So you get a lot of injuries at the top and at the bottom of the spine. You don't hear a lot about thoracic spine problems, do you? Does anyone here have like middle back pain? You might, it happens, but do you have, it hurts a lot right in the middle of my back? A lot more rare than lower back pain or neck pain, I would have to say. Chances are you're not going to feel, I'm really tight. I'm really tight between T6 and T7. You're not really going to get that. And the reason is because you are stemming. What's causing these imbalances in the spine is coming from above and below. It's coming from movement pattern imbalances. And that means that you're doing shit incorrectly every day. You're doing shit incorrectly. You're breaking your own spine. The cervical spine is usually jacked up because you're in a car and you're at a computer and you're rounded all day long. Also, what's more new in the past 5-10 years is texting. There's actually a thing called text neck that teenagers at 10 and 12-year-olds are going to therapists and stuff for, because their necks are all jacked up because they're down texting all the time. So it's fucking up their necks. Improper posture, sitting down, improper posture at a computer, improper posture sitting at a desk. Being immobile for long periods of time is not good for the body. So when you are rounded, when the shoulders are rounded, this is one of the reasons why when I've talked about exercise to stop hitting the chest and the anterior deltoid so much. Remember, we're talking about the shoulders. I was saying hit the side, hit the rear, but don't worry so much about this overhead pressing and the front raises. I just saw some shit on Instagram. I keep seeing these videos of these little twinks that are working out, and they're just doing presses and front raise and just hitting front shoulder. And these are kids that are they're literally just pounding their shoulders into the ground. I see so many people when they do shoulders in the gym, all they do is front. And I'm sitting here like not even remembering when I did a front raise or a shoulder press. I haven't done a shoulder press so long. You don't need to. It's not really necessary. I mean, you should be able to do it, but you don't need to overload and press hundreds of pounds over your head. There's no point. You know, if you're looking for a functional movement, you can use your entire body. You're going to do more of like a clean or like a jerk. You're going to use your legs too. But these overloads and these repetitive movements compound these injuries. They're not bad doing a shoulder press. They're not bad if you have balance, but it's bad when you have improper posture and you're already working with this disadvantage. So you have a lot of cervical extension because the thoracic spine is rounded. Thoracic spine is rounded, so you're forced to pick your head up. And you get a lot of curvature in the back of the neck, which tightens up a lot of muscles in the cranium, the splenius capitis, the levator scapula. You get a lot of tightness, and those muscles usually attach at the base of the skull, so you get a lot of headaches. People that get migraines all the time, it pulls at the occipital tissue and on the back of the head, and that's what controls your sight. So when you have tightness there, a lot of times it creates a dull aching or sensitivity to light or pain in the back of your head or pain behind the eyes because those muscles pull on the back. It's like Jenga, the game Jenga. When you pull one stick out, everything else has to adjust. The cervical spine is like that. So you might have issues because you're rounded, because you're doing things at the upper body. This is where the lower part of the body, the lower part of the spine comes into play with the top. You might be rounded. You might have upper cross syndrome where your shoulders are rounded in, your thoracic spine is rounded, your cervical spine is extended, and you kind of look like Quasimodo. That could happen from the top, but it could also be compounded from the bottom. What happens with the hips? The reason why I'm always talking about the glutes being the king of the jungle, the glutes being super important. The reason why the glutes are so fucking important is because of what they do with the spine. When the glutes are weak, when your hips are flexed, when you're sitting down a lot, when your glute muscles, the king of the jungle, aren't stabilizing properly, you have weakness in the hips. You have instability in the hips, which causes instability in the lumbar spine. And I just finished telling you that the lumbar spine is where you want to have stability. If you don't have stability in the lumbar spine, you're going to have issues with vertebral integrity. You're going to have herniated discs. You're going to slip discs. You're going to have back pain. You're also going to cause improper posture with the lower back. If you have hip weakness, you're going to have what's generally called an anterior tilt. Your hips are going to bend forward. You're going to get a lower back arch. Your booty's going to pop like a mother, and it's going to look sexy, but you're hurting your back. That's why heels are bad. That's why women should not be wearing heels, because it jacks up your calves, and it literally just all day long fucks your back up. So heels are terrible. I'm sorry. Heels are absolutely terrible for the spine. It's probably the worst thing you can wear for your back. So that being said, your lower back is being jacked up all day long when you're wearing sneakers, let alone heels. Literally all day long, your body is balancing and over-tightening muscles and causing pressure in the lower back. And if you're changing the angle of the lower back and the spine, you are changing the back all the way up. So when the lower spine has pressure, and the lower spine has less stability because the glutes are shutting down, because the lower back is arching, the rest of the spine has to compensate. And that will cause more compensation in the middle and the upper back and the neck. So you have a situation where from the ground up, and it's kind of like a car. How well do you think a Ferrari, let's say you buy a $500,000 Ferrari, and then you put $100 tires on it. It's going to go right off the fucking road because the tires are the only part of the car that touch the ground. Same thing with your body. Your feet are the only part that touch the ground. So if you change the angle of your foot, you change the angle of the ankle, it's going to change what your knees do. It's going to change what your hips do. It's going to change what your shoulders do, what your neck does. So you can actually have an ankle injury, and it can cause neck pain down the line. You can have a hip problem, and then you can cause neck pain. You can have an ankle problem, and it'll cause back pain. It's all connected. And this is what's breaking your spine. If you get into a car accident, that's tragic, that sucks, and you have to deal with the cards that that were dealt to you, and you have to just deal with it and therapy. It sucks. You're gonna have to try to fix it, do the best you can. But a lot of what you're going through, a lot of the pain and a lot of the issues with your spine, with your back, are being caused by things that you are creating, by the lifestyle that you're living, by what you're doing, by ignoring the warning signs, by sitting down too much, by not doing yoga, not strengthening your glutes, not doing corrective exercise, not doing rehab exercise before you get injured. A lot of what yoga and these corrective exercise I talk about, they do in physical therapy. It's like, well, I don't want to do that. I'm not injured. Yeah, you're going to get injured because you don't do those things. We work in multiple planes of motion in life. But then what you're training your body for is just to move front and back and maybe side to side. So the moment you twist, you hurt something. Most injuries take place when you're twisting, when you're bending and twisting, when you're lifting and twisting, when you're reaching back behind for something in the car, you hurt your neck, you hurt your shoulder. Doing things like yoga, doing things that provide rotational movement, that provide stability, that your body has to lock out certain joints, make them stable, and rotate other ones, like you're reaching up. All these yoga positions, the reason why I push yoga so much is because it stabilizes stable joints and immobilizes mobile joints. The postures of yoga, what they do is they lock the body where it should be locked, and they mobilize the body where it should be mobile. It's pretty much a moving, conscious meditation with corrective exercise all the time. Yoga is just moving the way the body is designed to move. So it's retraining your body. And it's nice because you could be in a class and learn and do this without having to focus and like, okay, do a couple exercises when you're surrounded by, 20 people that are like 80 years old that are doing rehab because they just had heart surgery. You're in a therapist's office. No one wants to do that shit. But if you do yoga and you take care of yourself, you won't have to be there. You won't be in a wheelchair when you're 60. I mean, this is the shit that is really important. This is the stuff that you're not going to find. This information is the shit that you're not going to find by these Instagram fitness models, by these girls that build big booties on Instagram, and these guys are like, lift heavy weight, these fucking meatheads. These fitness experts that you'll see on the internet, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but this is the shit that you're not going to hear. Because it's not glamorous, but it's the fucking truth. It doesn't matter if you have a nice ass if you're in a fucking wheelchair and you're sitting on it. This is the stuff that's going to keep you living longer, living healthier, and not feeling pain. This is real fitness. This is real exercise. Yeah, you can lift heavy weights. You can look good. You can have abs. But it's not going to mean shit in 15 years if you're suffering from chronic back pain. I promise you. So before you start following all these bullshit exercises and these things that you see in those single frame Instagram videos with the shittiest form that makes me nauseous, with these booty workouts and these experts that just decided to start filming their workouts, don't, please. The more I see, the more I'm on Instagram. One of the reasons why the community is here on Facebook is because Instagram fitness shit sucks. It sucks. You got to start taking some serious care when it comes to your body. You have to start paying attention to the warning signs and where everything starts from. And the spine is everything. How you treat your body, every day is even more important than what you do in the gym and what you eat. Your mobility, how much you're moving. That's why I always say training is more important than diet, especially at the start. It doesn't matter if you're eating perfectly healthy if you're sitting on your ass all the time. Diet and nutrition and food is only going to take you so far if you aren't moving. You have to move your body and you have to make proper food choices. This week and the next few days are going to be very intensive on talking about calories, how important calories really are, how important your food choices are, hormone balances, all these different things that people and the government don't want you to know because it doesn't make them money, because you can't quantify things, because people are generally lazy and they want an answer. The answer is eat proper food and move your fucking body the way it's designed. Super simple. Just go back to the basics and it works. Thank you for joining me for episode 245 of The Daily Mother Swole. Make sure, because it's Flex Friday, you flex your fucking biceps. You don't deserve to watch this show if you don't flex with Papa Swolenormous. Flex with Daddy. I'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern time, as I am every day. This episode was awesome, so make sure you share this broadcast because people need to hear about this. I know I raged a little bit, but some of the best information that you're going to see in any episode that I've ever done. Thanks for watching on YouTube, episode 245, and listening in on SoundCloud and iTunes. If you haven't checked out my podcast, make sure you check out the podcast. Go to iTunes, the podcast, type in Swolenormous, leave a positive review, talk about my beard, say how awesome it is. No, but I really appreciate liking those podcasts, leaving a good review or an honest review. I appreciate every time you share these episodes. It really means a lot to me. It helps get the word out. And also, of course, on Snapchat and Instagram. So thank you so much for joining me. I will see Swolenormous Premium in a couple minutes to talk a little bit more about the spine and where you guys can start. So if you want to learn how to apply any of this information that I talk about in the Daily Show, make sure to sign up for my premium group. You can click the sign up button at the top of my Facebook page, and also Swolenormous.com to sign up for Swolenormous Premium. That's my exclusive Facebook group where we do the program design and we apply all the information from my daily show and we get people freaking shredded. So I'm loving the meals that everyone's posting and everything that's going in Premium right now. And the exclusive broadcasts have been huge this week, have been really huge with the corrective exercise. And today we're going to get a little bit more into it. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate all of y'all. Love you. Flex it up. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and your weekend. I'll see you tomorrow for episode 246. Later.